Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Love and Lead channel with Mark.
And Sara. I'm Mark.
So, we're very excited for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we're very excited for this episode where we're basically going to share. This episode is for someone that is in a current relationship or wants to have one. And you are basically done with 5 hours conversation about your relationship on your couch. And you want to begin to communicate with your partner without spending 5 hours talking about your relationship every single time that you have a conflict or an argument or something comes up. And we're gonna walk you through the behind the scene of what Mark and I does. We both come to give you a little bit of a context. The reason why we created this episode because we got inspired from one of our clients. He asked us, how do you guys overcame conflict as a couple that you both have wounds, right? We all have wounds. And the majority of the time, the conflict can be solved in 5 minutes, but it goes for 5 hours or 2 hours because we are projecting to each other our wound, our trauma. And because Mark and I have been going through a lot of trauma in our life, we had to learn this. We literally had to do a lot of work around this to make sure that our relationship stay in what we say, and everybody loves to say, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we got inspired from our client because he asked more
Yeah,
details about what is projecting, what are we doing when we're actually
correct.
projecting into our
Yeah,
relationships. And what we discuss is we dive straight away into an experience that we had the day before. So that was 2 days ago now. And this is an experience where basically we had a bit of an argument. It's something that could have been resolved in 2 or 3 minutes
2 minutes.
maximum. But
2 minutes.
for us, it was like we're in bed. I had a little candle and, holding the candle, just looking at it. And we're in bed for a couple of hours just talking about it. Because what happened is basically in the moment when the argument happened, it was just us. And that was the
Yeah,
that was the situation. But then what happened after that is we flicked into our child behavior. So
correct.
basically, Sarah is a 6-year-old reacting, responding from me, but it was her perception of her reality of what happened when she was 6 to her
Correct.
mum or her dad. And then that triggered me reacting as a 6-year-old little Mark. And of course, having a conversation with my mum or dad.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, that's what we talk about with the projection. So, when we're
yeah.
actually having a conversation with everybody, we're actually, we're present, we're conscious of what we're saying. And then all of a sudden, we could also be projecting our past, our childhood, our little wounds that are coming in, right? And so, this conversation, what you're going to learn today is basically how you can actually communicate in a way that makes things happen really fast. You don't have to get into the whole, oh, this
Five
is,
hours
yeah,
counseling therapy
nonstop.
session on the couch.
Exactly.
And I want to preframe something before we dive into this, which I think it's very important to say it. This framework that we basically gonna show you exactly what Mark and I does in our day-to-day conversation when we get triggered and conflict arise. This doesn't work if you are in an abusive, manipulative, and controlling relationship. It's not gonna work. Because when you are in those kind of dynamic, there is one person that doesn't like accountability. There is one person that does not take responsibility for their own shit. So when you are in that kind of relationship, this framework or any framework, to be honest, is not going to work. So if you are in those sort of dynamic, you can still listen to this video and learn from yourself actually how an healthy communication should happen inside the relationship and where you are at with your own wound, with your own healing, with your own projection. And if you are currently in that kind of relationship, this is my opening up something for you. That those kind of relationship are designed you to blame you. They are not designed for the other person to take responsibility. And in a relationship, which is a relationship and a partnership, both individual need to take responsibility of their own stuff. Dot. That's how it is. It's not something that you constantly blame the other person. If that's the dynamic you are in, I really inviting you to reflect if this kind of relationship is the one that you actually want and is a relationship where you can actually grow and take something out of it, you know? I really want to
Absolutely.
reframe that
Yeah, that's good.
because it's
Yeah.
not going to work in those dynamic. This,
No, it doesn't matter.
especially in manipulative relationship, they don't like this. They hate this kind of framework.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to discuss now is this situation, the scenario that we talked to with our client that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And the situation was basically, it was a Tuesday evening and I was in the office. We're about to post a bit of content before we're getting on
I
to,
was posting content.
yeah, before we had like our shadow work therapy session together at 6 p.m. So 5:30 p.m. All of a sudden I have a look at my phone, scrolling through it, and then I look at an email. And basically I have boundaries around my emails because I'm dealing with my ex-relationship. And with their boundaries is I only look at it at certain days and at certain times, which 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday is not within that boundary.
And that what happening in that dynamic that made me angry because a boundary was violated. So when any sort of boundary get violated makes me very angry and frustrated. But to be honest with you, I could have responded differently at that time. So this is how I should have responded and I did it. So Mark opened the email, he tells me the email, and then I should have said, Mark, I don't want to hear it because now it's 5:30, we have a boundary that we don't open email and we don't do these kind of things before going into our evening. Instead of saying that, because I got activated in my nervous system, I allow him to share with me what the email was about. And because of that, that triggered the second step, the second phase. And from that moment, it was not about us anymore.
Yeah.
It was about my mom. It was about my father wounds. It was about my childhood. I was basically 6 again. So in those moments, this is what we do for ourselves, and this is what we also teach to our clients that we're currently working with about relationship to do. In those moments, that conversation could have been solved in 2 minutes by me saying, Mark, sorry, I don't want to hear it. Let's stick with the boundaries. Now you open it. That's your problem. I'm moving into my evening. I don't want to be part of it. Instead, I feed it, which is how the nervous system responds when we get triggered and those wounds comes up again. So in that moment, when the wound get activated, keep communicating with each other. It's not going to work.
No.
Maybe you want to
Yeah.
unpack this more.
Absolutely, because what you're doing is basically it's triggering wound after wound.
Correct.
And you just end up butting heads and you're fighting and you can't actually resolve anything because it's like your brain just goes offline. You go in, the reptilian brain switches on, which means that you are no longer able to coherently think and articulate and, just analyze the situation. It's like you're in a state of survival, which is what's
Exactly.
going on. Both our nervous systems were triggered in survival, and the blessing that we have is we have the opposite wounds. And so when Sara's wound gets triggered and we have a conversation, my wound gets triggered, and it's almost like we just keep on going and going, and it's a snowball effect. So what we do, what we teach our clients and what we actually practice in our own life is creating this pause. Okay, so when this moment arises, this situation, yes, I'll open an email that I wasn't supposed to and it violated a boundary. And then what we do is when we're activated, when we can remember, of course, because we're human and sometimes we don't, but we like to take a pause and we separate from the environment.
Correct.
So Sarah and I go into a different room.
Yeah.
And then that's when we work on ourselves. That's when we regulate. That's when we
Correct.
focus on doing whatever it is to bring us out of our heads and back into our bodies. Because what's going on is when we're in a state of survival and our nervous system's activated, we're out of our bodies and we're into our heads or into the atmosphere. For me, it's a dorsal vagal activation, which means I disassociate, I numb, I
I
avoid,
go
I
into
suppress.
fly, flight.
Yeah.
I want to just fix things.
Exactly.
And
So,
micromanage things.
yeah. So what we do is we take space.
We take space, yeah.
Yep.
And that is where actually something that I also want to highlight. Doesn't take away, because I know already what you're thinking, because that's what I used to think, and that's what Mark used to do, and that's what our client think. Doesn't take away what did happen. The Mark, in this case, or sometimes it's me, we're gonna share more example, that the fact that Mark did open that email. That doesn't take away the fact that the boundaries was violated and something that is supposed not to happen in our relationship dynamic didn't happen. So we don't invalidate what did happen, because in relationships sometimes one of the partner does something that it's not like it by the other person, or we violate the boundaries, or we violate an agreement, or whatever you guys have in the relationship that you created. Doesn't take anything away from that. What we are showing you here, that kind of argument, majority of the argument with your partner, it's just a communication problem that can be solved very fast when we remove the trigger, when we remove the wound, when we remove the projection. So I really wanted to highlight that
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it doesn't take away anything from the actual experience.
No,
Like
and
when something happened,
yeah.
right? You don't know, your partner forgot that it's your birthday and he doesn't buy you a present and you are mad about it. Doesn't take anything away from that experience, but can we solve that in 5 minutes instead of 5 hours couple therapy on the couch in the evening? That's
Yeah, which often gets in the way of the relationship, and all of a sudden your
Yeah.
relationship turns into a therapy session.
Correct, which is
is very
nobody
draining.
likes it.
No.
Men hate it. So I'm sure the men in the audience can confirm that. Men doesn't like to talk about 5 hours about relationship. They prefer doing something else. Maybe be in the bedroom and have some sexy time. They prefer other stuff, okay? And honestly, as a women, we love to talk about feelings. But honestly, girls, how do you feel after 5 hours couple coaching therapy on the couch? You feel exhausted. You feel like your feminine, your energy, your creativity, your softness has been completely taken it away because you over functioning. Try to fix the relationship when actually the problem is internal and we have to face it. We have to go in our own space and do the internal work, and that's what Mike
Yeah.
and I does.
Yeah.
And that is the pause and what happens after that is happening and you feel
Yeah.
more grounded.
Absolutely.
What is the next step?
Yeah, well, first of all, as well, like with the pause, like that's different for everyone. Like, how do
Yeah.
you regulate? How do you ground? It's something that you can explore yourself.
Yeah.
What helps us? We've done many different things. Grounding, we do like this technique where you can think of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. So just find yourself in a room and look at 5 things around the room that you can see.
Yeah.
4 things around the room you might be able to hear. 3 things that you might be able to taste, like or touch.
Yep.
Feel and smell, things like that. And that's just a way to ground, to come back into your body.
Anything that bring you back into the body.
Yeah.
That's
so
what it
it could
is.
be breath work as
Yeah,
well.
we have a lot of breath work in YouTube channel
Exactly.
that you can do.
Yeah. Journaling, you might just want to reflect and see what
Yeah.
comes up for you.
Journal works really well for me, and for me, it's voicing things out.
Yeah.
I usually grab my phone and voice things out and put things together and make a logic and have a logic of it. For me, logic is how my brain operates.
Yeah.
And I know everybody is different, and then allow myself to actually feel it.
Mm.
But if I don't make the logic of it first, I can't feel it. So I need to process it first. What did bloody happen tonight? Why did I go so angry? Why I wanted to smash my laptop? What did happen in there? So I just put a logic on it and then I go into my body. Where do I feel this right now? And it might be in my heart, it might be in my stomach. And because of that, I know that it's still in my body and I allow myself to go through the process. I do anger release with my pillow, I scream, or I cry and I grieve. Whatever it might be, the emotions, I allow it. But first I have to make a meaning of it. Like I need logic, I need the mind to process what did happen.
Yeah.
That works for me. I'm not saying that that's right, but that's what I do.
Yeah, and the key here is that we're not co-regulating.
No.
Which is when you get stuck in hours and hours
You
sitting on the
touched a good
couch.
point.
Yeah.
If you can talk about this more.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
This is what I see a lot with clients and what I saw a lot with us.
Yeah.
Try to co-regulate together. It's actually toxic.
Yeah, particularly when we're first together, like we're trying to make everything happen together and co-regulate. And what that does is it doesn't give you an opportunity to actually regulate yourself. It's you relying on someone else to get you out of the way that you're feeling. And that can create a dependency.
Exactly.
Like
Codependency.
Codependency. So you're no longer really in charge of yourself. You don't have that autonomy. You're now relying on someone else to change the way that you feel, which is actually, it's detrimental for the relationship because all of a sudden, you're putting that pressure on the relationship. Whereas when you start to do the work on yourself, you take that space and you regulate yourself, you come back, you're now in a state of regulation where you can have a normal conversation.
Exactly.
You're back in the body and you're no longer just like that little 6-year-old having an argument, having that conversation to mum and dad.
Which is how can you have
Yeah.
an healthy, mature and secure conversation with your partner when you are 6? Can't happen.
Which is what often happens
Which
in
is the
relationships.
majority of the reason why couples fighting. It's nothing to do with what did happen, and what did happen just trigger a response. That's why 99% of our interaction with other human being is projection. 99% it is projection, and 1% it's what actually happening in the moment. And this is again because I'm very mindful now with all the work that we did and all the experience that you and I had.
Yeah.
I'm very mindful of the language that I'm using right now, even more, and how I communicate. Doesn't mean that there are certain circumstances in relationship that are okay. So when we go back to manipulation, control, harm of any kind, that's another story, and that this is not applied for those situations. I really want to be very firmly with this, because everything that Mark and I share in this video, it's not applied in those dynamic. In those dynamic, there is unsafety in the relationship. So that it's another story. That's a completely other topic that we talk about healthy relationship with two individuals. They are conscious about their own stuff, and they are committed to work together through working on themselves to bring the relationship to the stage that they want to bring the relationship, and have an healthy environment in every day-to-day life, and communicate better, and not making every little thing like a big, a big drama about it. So doesn't apply all of this in toxic, unhealthy, manipulative, and controlling relationship. And you're gonna hear me say this very often.
I'm going to clip that video. That's a clip right there.
Yes, because it's important. It's a very essential. And plus, I want to add something else, which is what we say to our clients every single damn time. I think, I don't know how many times we repeat this in every single workshop, event, client session that we do. When we are in a relationship, both people need to do the work. It's not one person the problem and the other one does everything right. It doesn't exist, okay? Every people inside a relationship, they both have responsibility of what's going on in the relationship. It's not about one does everything and the other one is the perfect king or queen of the castle and doesn't do anything. No, both partners take responsibility of themselves, and they both play a part in how the relationship is going.
Yeah, and that's who we're speaking to in this video, really.
Okay.
It's the people who are watching that.
Correct.
And that's why these people are more interested in, like, okay, so we have this argument, we have this confrontation, we want to get away from the 5-hour couch counseling session, and how can we actually fast track it and make it happen in 5 minutes?
Correct.
And for us, this is what works for us. This is what we recommend to our clients, is the pause. Is when you're heated in that argument and you know that you're getting triggered, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can take that pause, right? And another technique as well that might be helpful is the SOW technique. It's a beautiful little acronym, SEW. So when you're in that conversation and you don't want to make it a confrontation, which no one does in a couple, you can think about the SEW technique, which is S is like sensation or somatics. So the first thing is like, okay, I'm having this feeling in my body. It feels like a punch in my stomach, or I'm feeling this tightness in my throat. So you're telling the other person, this is how you feel, okay? And the E is the emotion. Like right now I'm feeling anxious. Right now this has come up, this conversation, whatever, this boundary's been violated. I'm feeling like angry. You know, I'm feeling resentful,
sad,
frustrated, anything like that. And then the W is the what do I want? What do I need? So right now, I'm feeling the sensation in my body, punch in my stomach. I'm feeling like this anger or sadness, whatever. Right now, what I want or what I need is I need a bit of space so I can regulate, so I can come back into my body and we can have a normal conversation.
Yeah.
And that way, it takes away the personal when you're in a conversation, because no one can argue with that. No one can argue with how you feel. No one can argue with the sensations that you're feeling, and no one can argue with what you want. Yeah.
Because every experience is valid. Like how you feel is valid in the same way how your partner feels. They both valid and both can coexist.
Yeah.
And when you put it on that way, you remove like the accusation and that attacking. And I want to mention that if you want to know exactly how to handle your conversation with your partner after you coming back from the pause without going into another conflict, we have created a particular framework, which is exactly the same one that we use with clients and we use for ourselves, exactly how to handle the conversation step by step after you coming back from the pause. So click below and you will find the link to download this for free.
Yeah, check it out on the show notes. Other than that, we'll wrap up this episode, I think. Anything else you want to share at the end of this?
Yes, because I'm all about beliefs. And I really Mark and I are very passionate about this because our relationship has been the most incredible healing experience for both of us, and also the most challenging one at the same time. And there is something that I'm very passionate about it because I saw it within myself and I saw it with Mark every single day. And I see it with clients, and sometimes I become like this very protective person because I know that not everybody does have that. you can have it. You can have this kind of relationship where you are safe to finally feel and heal all of those parts of yourself that you never allow it. And you can have a relationship where you can do it with the other partner and also be happy together and build the life that you desire. You can have literally have everything that you want if you choose that. And in order to choose that, something has to shift inside of you, because everything that Mark and I teach comes back always to one thing: deciding. Deciding that I no longer want to date people that doesn't do the work, for example, and I want a man or a woman on my side that actually does the work. And I want to have this kind of relationship where we're growing, we're flourishing together, and it doesn't have to be a drama every damn day or questioning the relationship 10 times a day if you are in the right relationship. So if you want to date or start a new relationship, or you are already in a relationship and you want to take the relationship to the next level and you desire for more, you should go for more. You shouldn't settle, because if you settle now, do you think that you're not going to settle in any other area of your life? Because usually we ask a client how the relationship going, and then I ask them the second question: how your business going, how the money going, how your health going. And it does have a ripple effect in every other area of your life. Mark and I changed our relationship, but by doing that and asking for more, we found each other, but we also find our purpose together. We also increase the lifestyle we have right now. We live in a better place. Everything does have a ripple effect when you're choosing differently in your relationship. Who you're spending your time with every single day, it's something that you really need to decide carefully, because it does affect every area of your life. So the decision, you can have it, but you gotta decide that you want it. And then from there, take the following step.
Absolutely. If this video hit something inside of you and you felt like, yes, that's me, please reach out and comment as well. Leave us a comment, because we'd love to hear from you. We get back to every single comment. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe this video if it resonates, and share it with a friend. Share it with someone that you feel could really benefit with this message. If you're looking to, enhance your relationship or even get into a relationship, definitely feel free to reach out. Rather than that, it's been beautiful, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Ciao.